Welcome to Off the Leash. My name is Kenzie.
And I'm Izik Nox.
This is a show about everything animal news related from around the world. In this episode, we're going to be talking about a dog that rescues a cat, an eagle that attacks a photographer,
And a beluga wearing a harness. Our first story today takes us to Michigan,
where a dog has sniffed out the family cat after it disappeared after a fire ripped through their house and what?
and burnt it down. That's usually what fires do, they burn it down.
The house caught on fire early in the morning. The owner, she got up and she panicked. She grabbed the dog, but she couldn't find the cat. And as they rushed out of the house, called 911, they came, they put out the fire, and they could not find the cutest cat ever. 2 months later, she went back to the house. Well, actually, over time, she kept going back to the house to just, look around. And this one time, she went and brought her dog. And as soon as she got out of the car and went into the house, the dog made a beeline over to this little area where the dog kept sniffing. Pulled the dog back, and deep inside, she could hear the cries of what she later found out was her cat that had broken its leg.
The dog originally was just sniffing out for its buried treats, but it's like, oh look, I found the cat as well.
This isn't the first case ever of a dog finding the cat after the cat went missing.
I'm actually surprised that the cat was able to survive for 2 months without having food or water. I'm not sure if the cat stayed in that exact same spot for the entire 2 months.
In fact, I bet you that it was the cat that caused the fire. Because they're always causing fires. Knocking things over. And
the cat could have very easily knocked over a candle or one of those lamps that people have with kerosene in them. Set the house on fire. And then he's like, oh, I set the house on fire, I better go hide. It is also possible that the dog actually knew that the cat had set the house on fire, and it was like, I found the culprit, here's that little fucker, and the family's like, oh, it's so great to see you. And the dog's like, I don't understand.
Ringer is now in jail for arson.
What's our next story here?
Oh, it has to do with a couple eagles that got offended while being photographed while f***ing. Our next story has to do with 2 eagles that got offended while being photographed while mating.
This event took place right here in Vancouver. A wildlife photographer was photographing 2 eagles while they were mating, possibly fighting first and then mating in midair. Then they noticed that somebody was taking their picture without their permission, and they decided to attack her instead.
This is a crazy story. I can just imagine the photographer. She's sitting there, she's photographing these eagles. She's like, wow, these are the most amazing shots I've ever taken. Eagle pornography. And then all of a sudden, the eagles turned, looked at her, and they basically just charged at her, getting her in the chin, in the throat. I remember one time I was being photographed. I was just petting a donkey, and I got offended when I got my picture taken, because I don't want anyone taking a picture of me while I'm petting a donkey.
I don't know if you can imagine the Photoshop possibilities. The woman photographer did get away with some injuries and required minor stitches.
This is nothing new in the bird industry. Some of these bird people that go out taking photos of birds goes hand in hand with people that collect stamps. It's very exciting. People will come from all over the place to come and photograph a certain bird that is not supposed to be in this area. One of those such birds is Big Bird.
And yet no one has any photographs of big bird mating, so that is still to be taken. Photographing wildlife is always dangerous. You're always kind of taking a risk, and no one knows that better than Jason over here, as he is a wildlife photographer himself, and he has had numerous encounters where he was close to being attacked. And
by many animals.
Once you have experienced so many traumatic experiences, it could cost you your sanity, and hopefully that answers a lot of your questions about Jason on the set.
I just wonder, she was so focused on taking the photos that I guess she didn't realize that the eagles were coming that close. She didn't have time to duck. And yeah, these birds hit her. I know one thing about these bald eagles. They weren't really mating. They didn't really attack this lady. They were just in a rush to get over and watch OTL Animal News. And they subscribed. Please subscribe. Links down below. Thank you.
Our next story is about a beluga whale found off the coast of Norway with a harness.
So how old do you think this beluga whale is? You should know this kind of stuff because I didn't see any wrinkles.
721 days.
So it was a baby. Baby beluga, do-do-do-do-do, baby beluga, do-do-do-do-do, da-da-da-da. Those crickets are pretty loud.
A couple of explorers on a boat have found a beluga whale off the coast of Norway, and it was wearing a harness. Now, according to their information, this harness said property of St. Petersburg on it, which makes a sort of a conclusion that this beluga came from Russia. Some people are speculating that this beluga was sent as a spy, but I'm not sure how good of a spy beluga would make. There's also some speculation that it was had a clip that could have held a POV camera on it, but no camera was found on the beluga. It might have sold it on the black market instead for some tuna.
Locals believe that maybe it was a spy from Russia to find out where all the great fishing locations are located in that area.
It is also possible that this beluga was being released into the wild and they were about to undo the harness and the beluga just suddenly got away and they didn't have time to rip the harness off.
The POV camera was probably set up by the same lady that was photographing these eagles because she also wanted to see some of the belugas. Blah, 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 blah. Not only did they find a beluga whale with a harness on it, they also found a seahorse with a saddle. They also found a starfish that had Johnny Depp attached to him.
They also found an electric eel with jumper cables attached to its fins.
Well, I want to say thank you so much for joining us on another exciting OTL Animal News. At least it's exciting for us because we have so much fun doing this. If you like what you saw and like what you heard, please subscribe and hit that bell. Hit that bell!
Hit it. That's right, that notification bell will notify you every time we upload a video, which is Thursdays at 6.
We want to hear from you. If you have an interesting animal news story that you think we would have fun talking about on this show, please send the link down below. And remember, always support your local animal rescues. See you next week.
Have a good night, everybody.